Yes, I can hear you. I just realised what it was.
Okay.
No panic, this is the last advert, I think.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Hungaroring 2.7-mile circuit located just outside Budapest in Hungary and host to the Formula One Hungarian Grand Prix. It was opened in March 1986, just 8 months after construction began, which is the fastest track build of any other F1 circuit. Spanning 14 corners, the twisty and bumpy nature of this circuit makes overtaking here very difficult. Martin Brundle famously described this track as a street circuit without the houses. But nonetheless, the Hungaroring is a popular circuit which hosts a multitude of racing championships in addition to Formula One, such as F2 and F3, Formula E, W Series, GT Open Championship, DTM, and even European truck racing. Its combination of slow, medium, and high-speed corners, as well as its kilometer-long main straight, results in a track that has a tendency to deliver excellent racing, which we're hoping to see tonight. So, welcome to round 4 of the SSRi GT3 series, where we'll be bringing you coverage from Tier 2 for the first time this season. I'm Sam Pierce, SSRi Ambassador, and I'm joined this evening by Chris Hill, who will also be manning the cameras for me this evening. Hello, Chris.
Hello, good evening everybody. I think what you'll find is Sam's got that slightly incorrect. Chris is actually attempting to manage the cameras tonight, but doing a really poor job at the moment.
We will manage it all fine. So, I know you like to start your broadcast with a question, so I've got one for you tonight.
Oh.
What is your most memorable experience of the Hungaroring?
Oh, that's a difficult one. Racing here, I think I had a really good start in an endurance race once. Yeah, I had a really good start in the second corner. I got taken out and into the barriers, but proceeded to carry on with the race, and we went on to finish. You'd expect to say win then.
Hey, with a lot of endurance races, finishing is just as much of an achievement.
It is.
Right, so our race configuration for tonight, we have 20 minutes qualifying and then followed up by a 60-minute race. There's no mandatory pit stops, so just like last week with the GT4s, I think tire management is going to start playing a factor, and it'll be definitely interesting to see who has tire life left at the end. Try and say that too quickly.
You're doing well, Sam. You're doing absolutely peachy, let's say.
Peachy?
Peachy, yeah.
Peachy keen. All right. So let's have a look at where we have been through the championship and where we are hopefully going. Chris, if you want to bring up the world map.
I will do. I believe it's this button. Sounds so professional, doesn't it?
So we started off round 1 in Imola, and then we progressed to Oulton Park for a double round sprint series. Then it was off to the lovely night race in Suzuka. And tonight we are in Hungary, which is going to be followed up by another double sprint series in Misano. Then we head back to the UK to Silverstone, and then off to our final round at Kyalami. Right, so I know qualifying has gotten underway. Shall we see how the drivers are doing?
Let's give that a go, shall we? Apologies, everybody. This is the first time I've done this, so you'll have to just bear with me.
You're doing fine. Yay!
Didn't expect that to work.
So we're on board with. We're on board with West Camp. Currently sitting in P5. Let's see who's up on their times.
I think we've got Shoka Verva, haven't we? It's 0.1 up here.
And I am going to apologize in advance. I have been practicing people's names throughout the afternoon, and there are some that I am very, very much struggling with. So if I absolutely butcher your name, I am very, very, very profoundly sorry.
I don't think they'll be too offended, Sam. I think I've butchered a few names in the past few weeks myself.
I think it's just nice that you know, when we're getting a chance to see the tier 2 guys running around, and see how they've been getting on.
Yeah, just jump to Mike Abranosa here, who's 0.4 of a second up this time. 0.4 will put him very close to pole position at this moment in time. He's now 0.5 up.
Yeah, which would be very good, because during the practice sessions throughout the past fortnight, he wasn't able to get in an awful lot of laps, and was quite far down in the order. But that has currently put him up to P1, and P1 by 2/10, so quite a good lap from him. The Porsche is supposed to be quite strong here. From what I understand, strong cars around here are the Porsche, the BMW, the Ferrari, and the McLaren. Got quite a few of each of those in the race tonight.
Danny van der Veen has just picked Mike by 0.03 of a second there in the CC Racing Team McLaren. As you saw, I said there's quite a few of them in this division. What I am pleased to see is there are some Hondas in here.
Yeah, I'm actually very, very interested to see how our two Honda drivers do this race. A friend of mine who drives the Honda quite regularly was mentioning that in the patch update that came sort of middle of last week, the Honda has been buffed a little bit. Apparently, she was saying that it's now, you know, quite quick. I mean, the Honda's always been quite a quick car, but it feels just that little bit faster. But unfortunately, it's made it a little bit more twitchy. So I'd be very interested to see how Denise and Nutfass how they get on with the Honda today.
So I've jumped to Rogos, because that's a name I really wanted to try and pronounce. Who's 0.4 of a second, no 0.5 of a second up on this lap. I'll put him to 12th to 13th place if he continues. As he rounds the final corner, he's still lost 0.1 there. So hopefully it will be an improvement.
Let's put him up to P17. As he starts mowing the lawn for us, as a nice little.
Back to Mike Abranosa, who's up on his time here. It's very early on in the lap. He says it's actually mid-lap. I apologise.
I was very interested to find out in my research this afternoon that Hungaroring doesn't seem to have very many named corners, or at least I couldn't find any track maps that list corner names. So, seeing as my Hungarian is very, very, very rubbish, I was actually quite pleased about that. So we've only got to bear in mind corner numbers.
Well, that's a lot better. If we're struggling with people's names, we don't be struggling with corner names as well.
And if anyone caught our last stream together at Zandvoort, attempting to pronounce some of those names, some of those corner names, that was quite interesting and vastly amusing for several of the people in the stream chat.
Yes. Fortunately, we won't have the stream chat tonight, will we? So we can't be abused.
No. We can be abused in sort of retrospect.
Yeah, I never thought of that. I didn't work that in my head then. We jump to Frank Opp, who's 0.6 of a second up at the moment. Into mid-lap.
It's a very Christmassy livery.
Yes. It's just missing.
It's like very Christmassy.
Missing a star on top, isn't it? Or an angel.
Yeah. Star and a little bit of tinsel.
Random question for the evening. What do you put on top of your Christmas tree, Jenny?
We generally put a star on the top of our Christmas tree.
Okay.
So there you go.
Frank lost a bit of time there, so Milan Duma is 0.4 of a second up here. Start the final corner.
Yep, and Milan is currently leading our AM class in Tier 2, ahead of Denise Pope. It's currently 20 points between them as we come into this round this evening.
Yeah, if Milan didn't improve on his time there. Still in pole position with Danny Van der Green. With the 144, 155. Scrolling down, starting to see who's improving. There's one or two, isn't there? Sebastian Reynolds going throughout the final corner. He's 0.4 of a second. 13th, where's this going to put him? To 11th.
Yep, Tim Nybor is up. Tom Dalhusen?
Yeah, Tom's
car number 23.
Yeah, 23 was 0.1 up. Still is 0.1 up as he goes through the chicane. With only 20 seconds left of this qualifying. Once the timer goes to 0, everybody will be able to finish the lap they're on. Frank Opp, 0.5 of a second up. The Christmas tree can.
He's going to hate us for referring to it like that from now on.
He might do.
Who else have we got?
So this is going to put Frank up to P12. Or 13. I was one out, Sam.
Oh, it was close.
As drivers are finishing their laps now. Quite a lot of drivers currently in the pits. There's nobody actually looks like they're improving at all.
No.
And I think that's the end of qualifying.
Hi. So it's quite interesting to see Mike Ambrinosa being ahead of Nelson in the championship in the silver class. Nelson is ahead of Mike by 21 points, followed by Dennis Workman in third in the championship. But as we said at the top of the stream, the Porsche does seem to be a little bit quicker than the Vantage, which is what Nelson's driving. So yeah, be interesting to see how that all plays out this evening. Oh dear, my cat's come to join the stream.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to apologize now. She ends up making an absolute nuisance of herself. Where my race rig is, unfortunately, I don't have a door, so I can't lock her out.
Oh dear.
Right. So, while we are waiting for the grid walk. Okay. While you're doing on that, it's worth noting that in my research today, I discovered that the in real life lap record around the Hungaroring is a 1:42.3. Don't know if we're going to see those sorts of times in Tier 2. Tier 1 guys were getting close to it, but yeah, so it's nice to see that, you know, ACC sim racing can get, you know, pretty close to real world times.
Okay, so we go live to the grid. 3 minutes.
Okay.
Countdown. For some reason, Sam, I always round it down to the nearest minute. So I don't know why I do that. I think it's to get everybody panicking. Not least me.
Okay, so on the front row, we've got Danny van der Veen. Alongside him is Mike Ambrinosa. P3, we've got Tom Dalhunsen, Nelson Ambrinosa alongside him in P4. P5, we've got Tim Nybor with Oliver Anderson lining up alongside him in P6. P7, Andreas Westkamp, and P8, Carl Van Horn. P9, we've got Gaber Hayes, followed by Denise Pope in P10. P11, Sebastian Reno, and alongside him, Evan Njatfus. Frank Hopp in P13, alongside him, Ike Chews. Dion Vanderdos in P15, and Suki Vervat in P16. P17, we've got Milan Duma, and oh dear, this is one of the ones that I struggled with. Rayarid Stewart in P18.
I think we'll just call him Rod.
Rod. We can't do that. Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart in P18. P19, we've got Piotr Rogas, followed by Dirk Venema in P20. P21, we've got Mark Neutlings, and P22, Sem Aprikirologlu. Yeah,
Very
probably
well
butchered
done.
that one Very sincerely apologize, Sam. Then we've got Steve Parker in P23. P24, we've got Mark van der Eyck. Aaron van der Linden in P25. Karen Benz in P26. And the final row, John Haig and Daniel Benz.
Okay.
Hopefully that didn't go too atrociously wrong and I don't get hate mail from any of those drivers.
If we do get any hate mail, you can send it to we don't give a monkeys at. We're trying our best here, Sam, at the end of the day.
Yes, very, very trying. Very trying indeed. Right. 30 seconds countdown. So, Chris, what is your expectations for the race?
For the race, obviously this is the first time we've seen a Tier 2 here. I've heard that it's quite active, can be quite exciting. There are some fast drivers in this tier who just didn't make it into Tier 1. So
Yep.
it's definitely going to be interesting to see. I mean, you mentioned before the Abernoses. Their last year at SSRi were quite well up in the championships. Finally qualified in Tier 2. It was a bit surprising, but then you look at Tier 1 and the standard in there.
It's quite high.
Yes. I think
very high.
I think I'd be in Tier 3.
Well, I was down the bottom of this tier before I bowed out to give you a hand with commentating. I think before I resigned, I was in 34th place in this championship out of 37. So quite low down, but enjoyed it.
Well, that's the thing. As long as you enjoy the racing, it doesn't matter where you finish. You and I can drive in Tier 3.
Sure we can. Yeah.
We should be able to get a 1-2 finish. It doesn't matter which way around.
Yeah, but I guaranteed a podium every week.
Well,
brilliant. Don't even have to
turn
practice.
Up. Yeah, absolutely.
Provided we turn up. Yeah. So this is a track that I've not raced at before. So this will be quite interesting for me to commentate on.
It's also the track we chose for the endurance charity event on the 16th of April. Selected by the premium members of the 19 to 20, if I remember rightly. I think that should be 20 to 19, by the way. I can't remember. I think Spa was the other. Everyone knows Spa, don't we?
Yeah, a lot of endurance, big endurance races hadn't happened at Spa. I mean, our big 24-hour charity event last year, when I remember, was at Spa. My endurance race my solo endurance last night was at Spa for the finale of the women's championship. So it's a very, very popular track for endurance.
How did you do last night?
Not too bad, considering I was last coming halfway through lap 1 after being taken out on down Radion, and I did quite well, finished P9. So I was very happy with myself. Right, so as the drivers come out of the final corner, they're all going to be given the hurry up and waiting to get the green light. It does look like we have a car in the pits though. And we're racing. All looking fairly clean so far. We'll see how it all stays that way in the braking zones. A little bit of concertina effect. Oh, it does look like P2 has gotten collected, but they did get going again quite easily.
That, I believe, took both Abernoses out briefly. They're both back in the race, but from what I can see. So leading the way is Danny van der Veen, and then a car in the background there. Grass. Like a Honda.
Yeah, so as we're waiting for the timing boards to catch up, we do have van der Veen still holding his first place position. And it does appear that you were right of both of the Abernoses being involved in that turn 1 incident. We've got Tom Dallinson in P2, followed by Oliver Anderson. He's had a very good start.
He's had a very good season so far, correctly.
Yes, how is he? Where is he in the championship? Oliver. He is currently sitting in P8 in the silver class. And yeah, he's had a couple of top 10 finishes. He had a top 10 at Suzuka, and another top 10 at one of the rounds at Oulton.
If I was any sort of decent broadcaster, then I'd have actually focused on what you're talking about. instead of being curious and seeing who's stuck in the garage.
So who is in the garage, by the way?
Gabo Hajas is in the pit. He doesn't look like he's left the garage at all. So that's
Right, I'm wondering if that's a technical issue. He hasn't been able to join the grid.
Oliver setting the fastest lap so far.
In a very, very bright Porsche. There's no way you're going to miss that in your mirrors.
I'm struggling to see on screen.
Is that because your screen is struggling with the brightness of the?
Yeah, I'm trying to turn the contrast down.
I want to call it yellow, but there's quite a bit of green in there as well. So, yeah. Either way, it's extremely vibrant. Definitely eye-catching.
And somehow we missed this. Tom Dallinson.
He is.
Something's happened to Danny van der Veen. He's down in.
He has. Where is Danny ended up? I can't find him.
He's showing 8. Oh no, it's Danny van der Veen. He's showing 22nd. What
has happened there?
We're expecting to get a replay. I'll try my best. No pressure.
Okay, so while Chris is trying to find a replay to let us know what happened there, let's have a look and see how some of the gaps are shaping up. So we've obviously got a tight battle between first and second. There's less than a second between P1 to P3. Our next close battle looks like it is for P6, and that is between Evan Netfes, Nelson Ambrosia, and Dion van der Vos. And Maya Milan Dumas is starting to get onto the back of that train as well. And a little bit further down the field, we've got a fairly close battle brewing between Stewart and Van Horn. That looks like it could get quite tasty within the next couple of laps. And it looks like we've got a bit of a train going on in the mid-pack as well, about P15 down to P17. less than a second between in there, and that's Steve Parker, Daniel Benz, and Denise Pope. So in some nice tight battles going on all the way down the field, which is good to see.
Hopefully
and then looks
coming
like,
up. Hopefully coming
have
up
we got it?
What happened to Danny van der Veen?
Hey! Oh, and he's just... Oh.
So we did see a car from the helicam view, didn't we? That looked like it was trying to get back on track, and it appears it was Danny.
Yeah, and it is just such a sinking feeling to have, you know, a little mistake like that, you know, bit of oversteer coming out of a corner gives you a bit of a spin, but then, you know, with the pack being so bunched up because it's early in the race, you've just got to sit there and wait and wait and wait, and it's just gutting to see all those places just drive by, but it's the safe thing to do. You know, when we all hate unsafe rejoins and the carnage that can cause. So, yeah, it's as painful as it is. It's much better to sit and wait for a nice gap to be able to rejoin safely and not ruin anyone else's race inadvertently.
I think this is the closest battle on the track at the moment. I and Van der Linden, they've been separated by a point.
Yep.
25 as you say. Just to prove me a liar.
Just to prove you wrong.
Up in the background there.
Yeah, that looked like a McLaren quite offline.
I should go and try and find out who that was.
Bright and orange one, is what I can tell you.
Thank you for that.
Anything I can do.
Yeah, control the cameras because I'm doing a good job. Let's.
You'll do much better than me because I have never done it at all. So I would just be clicking random buttons. It's very, very much. So what does this do? As the popular TikTok sound effect is at the minute. I wonder what this does.
I'm not familiar with that.
Am I showing my guilty pleasure that I do actually watch TikTok?
I think we may very well be doing that.
Oh dear. Well, you know, try to be down with the kids and all that. Try to hide my age. So what other type battles have we got going on? Ike Choose is giving Sem quite a run for his money down in P2021. It's quite a good little battle going on there, and Andreas Vestkamp is joining that little train as well. And it does look like that Audi has got a bit of paint damage down one side, so I think he's been trading paint with somebody as he goes for a move up down the end of the main straight. Overcooked it just a little bit, and no, he's only lost the one position, or not gained the position. He was in danger of losing to Westcamp, but he's managed to keep that nice and tidy.
quite a bit troubled by the cars then. It works into the that's on the start. Right on into Claret.
Although I'm noticing that there are a few of them. There's one on screen right now.
That's the one.
I don't think it was that one.
That's the one. Looking at myself.
So it does look like the grid is starting to spread out a little bit, but it seems to be spreading out into little pockets of close battles. So I think this is going to prove to be quite an interesting race, and as it hots up, if a lot of these battles, end up going on for a considerable amount of time, and as I was mentioning at the beginning, tire life is going to start to play a factor. It's very easy to fight, nice and hard at the beginning, at the expense of your tires, as I found out the other night. I was in some really, really close battles at the start of the race. My first 20-30 minutes of a 2-hour solo endurance, lots and lots of close fighting, and I had absolutely no tires left.
One thing you could do with the racetrack is tyres. I've learned that.
You do kind of need them. It's, it is just a little bit important. Can't really do very much without them.
Well, you can't do the corner on rails,
So,
I apologise, Sam, I can't find that replay.
that's okay. That's okay. So it looks like the top three have spread themselves out a little bit. Although while we were looking at some of the battles in the midfield, it does look like our race lead has changed. So Tom Dallianson is now down in P3, and we've got Tim Nybor up in P1, with Oliver Anderson still holding station in P2, but there's some decent gaps between the top three drivers. But there is a little bit of a train forming up behind Tom in P3, down to about P6, all getting a little bit closer, about what's that, about 2 seconds between the four of them. And I see that Tom Dallinson still has fastest lap, which he has gotten from Oliver Anderson at some point while we were watching in the midfield. I've just noticed that Denise Pope and Mark Newtlings are in quite a battle. Honda versus McLaren should be quite an interesting battle. Denise, quite an experienced driver, and I've raced with her before in More Female Racers Championship on SimGrid. Very, very experienced, very clean racer. Quite interested to see her in the Honda then this season.
I have a replay coming up for you for where the lead got taken.
Excellent. Makes sense.
So that's Tom spinning there,
Oh!
Oliver collecting, and Tim taking advantage of that.
So then, do we know what caused Tom to spin in the first place?
I will get a bit more of a clearer picture on that.
Okay.
So please call her. The call is important to us.
So Denise putting lots of pressure on Mark Neathlings, just showing her nose out, coming into quarters, trying to put Mark off. Knowing that Mark is also quite an experienced driver, I think it's going to take a little bit more than that to rattle him, but definitely some nice close racing going on. I think she has dropped back and a little bit. That gap at one point was 0.1, 0.2 of a second. It's now down to 0.4. But they are both up on their lap times, so even though they are fighting, they're not losing time to each other, which is good.
Have the replay you requested, madam.
Excellent. Oh, I just overcooked it going into the corner. It is something that I've noticed with the BMW. Depending on how you like to run your brake balance, it can make the back end a little bit light coming into some of the heavy braking zones. Oh!
See there that Denise caught Mark a bit there. Mark is absolutely side of the road still. I'm guessing you get a replay of that now?
If we can, kind sir.
Try my best.
And while you're digging that up, I've just noticed something very interesting of Mark Ambranosa down in P24, putting in, clocking in a fastest lap. So obviously trying to recover his drive as best as possible, try and gain some places back, and as much on the move as he can be. Trying to see where Mark rejoined, and I'm struggling to find him.
Replay of what happened with Mark Neuthlings. He just appeared to go off on his own.
I'm wondering if that might have been a technical issue, because I am struggling to see him in the running order. So I think it might have been a disconnect, which would be very unfortunate.
It seemed peculiar, didn't it?
Yeah. And a little bit of an odd place to lose it without assistance. So while Chris is looking at that, I'm going to just touch base and see how things are going up at the front end. And Tim Nybor is pulling quite a big gap down to Oliver Anderson.
I think we're ready for the replay.
Okay.
Ignore that bar at the bottom, that shouldn't be there. It did seem to go... Sorry, this is really unprofessional, but let's have a look at it again from... just seemed to go all off on his own then, didn't he?
Yeah. So I don't know if maybe it was an overcorrect of trying to avoid hitting the car in front of him. But yeah, very, very unusual. And you know, like I said, can't see him in the running order anymore. But yeah, Tim Nybor pulled out a very healthy 10-second gap down to Oliver Anderson in the 101 Porsche in P2. And it looks like Tom Darlington is having a little bit of a look up the inside, trying to put a bit of pressure on Oliver, trying to get some places back. And Sebastian Reno is getting fairly close to joining into this battle as well.
Tom trying to overtake on the outside.
Oh, a little bit wide.
Brave, you can go around the outside there.
That's going to open the door to Sebastian. Very, very well done. Taking advantage of a quickly developing situation there. So really, really great awareness from Sebastian Reno on that. Interestingly, then this the fighting between these four is they're still keeping tabs on Oliver Anderson as well. They're not dropping back too much with all the squabbling that they're doing amongst themselves. Then Anderson's not able to romp away just yet.
Sorry, Sam, I'm trying to sort something else out.
That's okay. I'm just going to have a look down the running order and see what other close battles we have going on. So Nelson Ambranosa is starting to pull in Stewart in P9. About 2 or 3 tenths separating them at the minute. That's Aston versus Aston, so it should be equal machinery, so it'll all be down to driver skill. Looks like Tom has just re-overtaken Sebastian. It looked like Sebastian went a little bit wide, took a little bit too much curb, unsettled the car a bit, and Tom has gotten that place back. But I've just noticed that Frank Hopp has now joined into this train as well. So he's coming in to join the fray. 5 tenths behind Sebastian.
That's as well, right behind.
It is as well, yeah.
His teammates in the bathroom as well.
So, and it has given Anderson a little bit of breathing room. You can see he's pulled out a little bit of a gap. While in P3 to P6 have started squabbling amongst themselves. It's given Anderson a little bit of breathing room. The battle with Denise Pope
is me showing exactly the same thing. This battle for third seems to have broken a bit as well.
It has, yeah. So we've currently got about 7/10 back from Anderson. Just looking in a little bit further down in the order, it looks like we've got a bit of a battle going on for P11 between Stewart and Van Horn. That's looking like it's starting to hot up a little bit, although it looks like Stewart got a good run out of that final corner, started to pull away a little bit. Although, yeah, and I think he tried to get a little bit too brave on the brakes and just overshot a little bit. Very, very easy to do on long straights like that, especially if you're close behind another car. I would struggle to see where brake points are in when I'm in close battle with someone. It's just so easy to miss them. You get so fixated on using a particular marker for where to brake, where to turn in. If you've got a car in the way of one of those markers, then can make it very, very difficult. And all of the top drivers always say have multiple markers to rely on. My brain doesn't quite work that way. Too many things at once.
I always pick on the movable object, knowing that I shouldn't pick on the movable object as a brake. And I'm always surprised when it's not there.
Or shadows. Shadows is a good one.
Yes.
Yeah, picking shadows. Don't pick shadows as a braking point.
I mean, they don't move with the sun or anything, do they?
No, not at all. No. And if it's, raining or even just cloudy or nighttime, they're just gone.
Yes. Strange how that works. But
I know.
We've all done it.
How dare they? Yeah, we all do it. Such an easy mistake to make.
The other one is when you're on a green track and there's no brake, obvious signs of rubber down, like there is, you can see on the screen there.
Yes.
The braking.
Yeah, track colorations after it's been rubbered in. Yeah, or what really throws you off is that if someone's gone into a corner a little bit too hot and left brake marks, but further than where you should be braking. Just noticing Denise having a little bit of power slide through turn 4, held onto it beautifully.
I think she was actually assisted by Nelson, to be honest. They did bang into each other slightly. Denise, as you said, held onto it very well.
Came away the winner of that little scrap as well. So it looks like we've got Van Horn and Venema are fighting a little bit in the background behind this battle as well for P13. So I'm starting to see plenty of evidence of very, very close racing. Little bits of scraped paint here and there from a little bit of door banging and argy-bargy, but looks like most cars have been keeping things together fairly well.
So car 211 must have made a pit stop, must have been to repair damage because he's back out on the track now. See the picture.
Yep, which has given Mike Amberdosa another place back. Still holding on to fastest lap.
Deal, I see what's happening from, shall we?
Yes, let's.
Oliver's not managed to drop Sebastian. We have a drive-through as well for Danny
Does.
Yeah, in English
but yes, it is, yes. I would assume that is for track limits. When we're over halfway through the race now, and if they've been battling quite hard, it's easy for those track limit warnings to start adding up. And as we mentioned it, he's now into the pits to serve that drive-through. So that is probably going to drop him down to probably P8, P9 when it comes out.
Second place. Evans really catching on.
Yeah, and it does look like he's putting quite a bit of pressure on Sebastian Reno, who is our lead AM car by the way. So that is very good going. He's currently P4, showing us P4 in the
championship itself.
That's what I was just looking at, and on the SSRi standings, he's showing as P4 in AM, but on the Sim Racing GP standings, I have him in P7. Interesting. I'm a little confused.
So the SSRi one has been put further up.
Yeah.
So the SSRi one is at penalty line up the drivers. As we see Sebastian side by side. A very good camera work here. Bear with me. There we go. Tom was doing this
decided.
Sorry.
So just saying, has decided not to try it around the outside, but trying the switchback instead. It's not quite worked out, but he's definitely keeping the pressure on.
Minutes left of the race. Now about still P1.
Comfortably in P1.
20 seconds.
Yeah, the timing boards don't seem to be marrying up very well. Once Oliver crosses the line, then we should be able to get an update on what that gap is.
Nelson Ambrose has got a drive-through now as well.
Yes, he has. And then, again, I would probably guess for track limits again as well.
Picture in picture, Nelson coming into the pit to serve his drive-through.
Yep, so looking to get that out of the way as quickly as possible. Yeah.
There's Oliver and Sebastian still battling here.
Yep, and you know Sebastian is giving it all he can. You know, weaving back and forth behind Oliver, try and put him off.
So soon will be a four-way battle for this, because
It is.
is quickly going to get on the back of this. Gonna blink. Someone else's right through, back out into the pits. Comes back out into the pits.
Come back out of the pits, I think is what you were trying to say.
I think those were the words, they're just not necessarily in the correct order.
Rearrange these words into a popular sentence.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a bit of a clip there.
I'm not sure if it was a clip or just a little bit of a squirrely moment, but Anderson's held on to it.
But Evan has now managed to get past Sebastian.
But Evan hasn't, yes.
So can Evan apply the pressure on Oliver that Sebastian was doing?
And this is, you know, just illustrating what I was mentioning at the top of the broadcast, that it is very, very difficult to find places to overtake around here. And you know, you've got to pick your places, and you know, just make sure to not make any mistakes and stay nice and close to the car in front, so that you can take advantage if they make a mistake. And Evan's gonna. He does go just a little bit wide, but he gets in a good drive out. But Evan taking.
That's questionable, isn't it? Whether he overtook him off track.
Yeah, don't know, but I would say that was very, very close to track limits.
Tell you what, you don't want to be doing that to one of the Chiefs, do you?
No.
Tom and Sebastian just dropping further and further back.
He is, and I wonder if he's. Oh, and
Tom's had a spin.
Found himself in the wall, facing the wrong way. So I wonder if that was aided, or if that was just a momentary lapse in concentration.
Let's find out.
If you could, please, it would be most useful.
Bear with me, please, Carla.
Holding. So while Chris goes and has a hunt for that, let's see what other close battles we've got further down the order. So I see Nelson Ambrose putting some pressure on Aram Kilioglu. We'll just call him Seb for P15. It's 0.5 of a second between them at the minute.
Now, just to be clear, Sam, you weren't expecting me to help you that near then, were you?
No. I will struggle through it, and I think from now on I'm just going to call him Seb in the McLaren car 47. But it does look like then the rest of the pack has spread out a little bit. So this battle that we're we're on board with the 78 car is definitely the closest battle that we've got on track at the minute.
I don't know, I've done it, Sam. Bear with me.
Have we found it?
Sort of have, yeah.
Okay.
I just caught it at the wrong time. Yeah, I'll try that one again. I do apologise.
Okay.
Get this timing right. It's all about learning.
It is. Yep. Learn by doing. Best way to learn, I say. So as we just look in the background, Evan is starting to pull out a nice little gap.
So ably assisted
And
off.
yes, that does look like it was for the assist.
Surely the steward's inquiry about that one.
Yep, so it does look like Evan has pulled in a nice little gap on Oliver, and Oliver in turn has pulled in a 1 second gap onto Reno. But Doma is starting to catch up to Reno to give him a bit of a fight for P4. I've also just noticed P7 Denise Pope having a great race, and the timing boards has her as being within 1/10 of Frank Hop, and that's clearly a bit of a delay, as Denise does in fact get past Frank.
I think from the start, Denise, if I recall, Denise had a bit of a nightmare at the start, but she now rose to 7th place. So she's having a good race overall.
Yeah. Yeah, consistency does definitely pay off in races like this as we start getting inside the final 16, 17 minutes of this race that's been very hotly contested in little pockets throughout the field. As we watch on board from Sebastian Reno looking back at Milan Duma, just trying to keep Sebastian honest. Oh, that is very close under the brakes. Yeah, it's definitely closed that gap up. McLaren straight line speed starting to show itself in a lot of the starting to pull away a little bit on the straights. So as long as Sebastian can keep in front as we come onto the main straight, he should be able to just give himself a little bit of breathing room. He has indeed. So then this battle is, Anderson's come under attack several times throughout this race, and manages to get out a bit of a gap, and then has that gap been eaten away. So it's had quite a busy race, this race.
I think he's had some good moments.
He has, yeah.
Still up there in fourth. feel that Milan's just biding his time, hoping these two take each other out.
Yep, if I was behind the wheel of that BMW, that's pretty much what I would be doing as well. Is just sit back and see what happens. Try and make sure that you stay close enough to be able to take advantage of anything that happens in front.
I suspect that Milan's going to have to get a move on because coming up close behind is Denise now. 6th place.
Yep, she is definitely putting the lap times in. Can I see her last lap time? So yeah, she is lapping in the high 46s. And Duma's last lap was a 47.7. So yeah, he is going to have to get a little bit of a wriggle on.
Sebastian does sort of manage to get past Oliver.
Yeah.
And then off.
Although he's just outbraked himself again. And if he's not careful, he's going to lose out to Milan. Yep. So, as we were saying, not half a lap ago, that, sometimes it's good to just, sit and wait, see what happens, and quite often, being patient, playing the long game, you can have some places come to you. But Denise very, very much getting into the thick of this battle as well now. So with this squabbling happening behind, Oliver Anderson again is starting to get a little bit of breathing room, give himself a chance to relax a little bit as Denise takes a little bit of a look up the inside, forces Sebastian to defend.
Sebastian's trying to put pressure onto Milan as well now.
Yep, and as and all the while making sure not to leave the door open to Denise. It's a very challenging place to be in, fighting with a car in front and having another car behind fighting you for position, because it's where do you prioritize your focus within attacking the car in front or defending from the car behind? It's, you do, yeah.
4 eyes, 2 brains.
Yeah. Oh, a little bit of a nudge from the back, but thankfully it was fairly square on. He is, yeah. So as we come up into the final 10 minutes, what started out as a two-way battle is now very quickly forming into a 5-way train. As Van der Veen gives Denise Pope something to think about coming onto the main straight. I know, where do we look?
Oh, well, we can't see anything, anyway. Try and do is that. See both battle.
So I think it is going to be a case of who has saved tires for the final fight, and out of these 4 or 5 cars, who's been strategic, who's been waiting to see what happens, keeping tire life, keeping fuel as well. It's, something that we've not touched on, but then with there out there being a mandatory pit stop. Who has overfueled? Is anybody carrying around more fuel than they need to be? Is anybody underfueled, and is anyone starting to think, might need to start doing a little bit of fuel saving? Hopefully no one will run out.
In a battle like this, you're not going to do fuel saving, are you?
No. No.
Everything goes a bit light there.
Yeah. And, once again, it's taken a little bit of the pressure off of Oliver Anderson. Give him a little bit of breathing space.
Starts to look a bit wide there at the correct himself.
Yep.
First corner.
And Denise, unfortunately, in turn outbreaks herself as well, and is close to losing a position, and it looks like she has. Yeah, very, very clean, very pressured, but nicely. And I've just noticed that there is another type battle going on for P10, 11, and 12. Dirk Venema and Dion Vanderdos. All battling to see who can get into that final top 10 spot. So it does look like we've got a couple of close battles happening out on track. As you see,
Going down. Well.
Oh, 3 wide.
Who's off here?
Yep, but it looks like they keep it all clean.
Fantastic move by Misano.
Yeah, there was definitely some great racing going on in that little battle.
Here's one for you, Sam. Where the heck did
Yeah.
Tom Danielson come from? He's just appeared in that battle.
He has. He's kind of snuck in there under the radar, and has actually gotten ahead of Milan Doma in the process, and is now the one chasing down Denise Pope. Although it looks like the timing board is just updated, and Milan has gotten that position back. But it looks like Danny van der Veen has closed the gap back onto Oliver Anderson again. So Anderson under pressure yet again during this race. As We have just, oh, it's a little bit of a touch, and unfortunately, oh,
Both cars go around. If they'd been on a decent shot, then wouldn't it as well?
yeah, I kind of saw a flash of pink come up, and I was keeping my fingers crossed that Denise didn't get collected up into that, but it looks like she's made it through.
It's fourth. Especially Renault's managed to just get into those out.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Oliver Anderson. Has had a great race up until now. Been able to hold off a lot of opposition. Just one fight too many. As we come into the final 3 minutes. And I'm just noticing Mike Ambrinosa down in P18. Quite a decent recovery drive for him, seeing as he was at one point down in P25 after the lap 1 incident. So he's had a strong recovery.
Replay of hopefully what happened. So on the brakes, trying to go around the outside, Danny Van der Veen. Oliver tries to get the power.
And some synchronized spinning by the two.
Full 360s. Hats off to them for that.
Yep. Yep, that could have been a lot worse than it was.
And both back underway. And battling straight away.
And battling straight away.
Okay,
good to see.
Final lap down. Give it all you can.
So, as we see Denise once again putting the pressure back onto Sebastian for that final step on the podium. Tim Nybor and Evan Nyatvis, they are comfortably P1, P2. So it's just who is going to get that final podium step.
Tim has got a considerable lead, hasn't
he? He does, yep.
So it's 10 seconds between second and third place, Evan and Sebastian.
Yeah, and I'm showing nearly 50 seconds between Tim Nybor and back to P2 of Evan.
It's not to start, well, it's only 10 seconds of this race left. Where did that all go?
I know, it's all just flown by. But looking at where Tim is on track, this does look like this will be the end of the race, as Tim is just rounding the final corner. See, brings it home for Team Rocket Fast and Furious in the 622 Mercedes. Evan Nyatvis, Wild Things Racing, bringing home the Honda for P2. Oh, so good. So I get to ask him about how he feels the Honda has fared after the patch. So be good to see if he had to alter his setup coming into this race and after the patch as well. So yeah, really good to see then the Honda up on the podium. So, do or die last corner. Is Denise going to get Sebastian, or is Sebastian going to hold on, which he does? And I think that's an excellent race from Denise, with Milan Duma coming in 5th. Tom Downson bring it home in P6. Frank Hopp P7. P8. Daniel van der Veen. Oliver Anderson. Got to feel sorry for him. Coming home in P9 after sitting quite high on the podium for the majority of the race. Stewart in P10, Venema P11, Vander Doss P12, Choose P13, Other timing board, Steve Parker coming in P15, Arjen van der Linden taking P16. Oh, and my timing board is now starting to move around because people are leaving, unfortunately. So, what did you think of that race, Chris?
Stressful.
Stressful.
Oh,
I think for your first time managing the cameras, I think you did very well.
thank you very much, and your commentary throughout to hold it whilst I was trying to concentrate on trying to find things. Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Hats off to you. It's always a pleasure.
Hats off to both of us.
Yes. Let's go and buy new
Yes.
hats.
Yeah, so that we can take them off.
Yes. Absolutely. So, not sure if any of the drivers know that they can possibly come and join us.
So if you want to drop them a message
I'm on
and
it.
let me know who comes in. Let me just make a note of that final order.
We've gone very quiet while we wait.
Just making a note of the finishing order.
Oh, sorry, I want to say we've both gone very quiet. Both concentrating on our respective activities.
Claren, right. I'm back with you.
I'm still here.
So, so while we're waiting for some drivers to come and join us, our next race. So, a doubleheader super sprint at Misano in 2 weeks? 2 weeks time. So, what do you think of the Misano circuit?
Misano's one of my favourite.
I would agree.
Well, it's one of my favourite. How do you know?
It is. But I would agree with you that it is also one of my favourites.
Oh, right, okay then. No, I do like it. I had a nightmare there last week. Don't know if you've heard the story, Sam.
I don't think I have, no.
I should regale it anyway.
Regale me, yes.
So,
Love a good story time.
in the 2.4 hour series on Friday evening, my good friend and teammate Simon Pike was driver one. So I sat there patiently waiting for over an hour to get in the car and have a drive. And I didn't even make a full lap.
Oh no.
So
What happened?
around about turn 13, the last fast right-hander, I locked my brakes up.
Coming off the back straight.
Yes.
Yep.
Locked my brakes up and started to spin. and then another driver unfortunately collected me.
Oh no.
Not his fault, nothing he could do, and launched my trajectory, missing out corner 14 totally. And when I got back on track, I just had big no entries, and I quickly got disqualified, knowing that I couldn't really do a great deal about it.
No.
So enough of my boring regulation. There we go, that's a word that we've never heard of before. We have our race leader, Tim Nybauer, in interview, so I'm going to bring him in for a chat.
Okay, excellent. Tim, congratulations, P1. How was that race for you? Can you hear me, Tim? I think we might have some
Hello?
technical... There we are, Tim.
Ah, right.
Hello.
It wasn't working. I started rambling already, but you couldn't hear me. Yeah.
So, shall we start again? Congratulations on P1. How was the race for you?
Thank you very much. It was an awesome race. In the beginning, a lot happened. I think I was following Oliver quite close, actually, in the Porsche.
Yep.
When we were fighting for P2, basically. Or P3 even, I think. I think Danny was in front and he made a mistake. Not sure what happened there. But that, was a benefit for us. And then at the end, Tom made a mistake as well, and Oliver couldn't avoid him, and all of a sudden I was first. So it was quite surprising. But the race was good, so in the end I kept it at P1. Really awesome race.
Yeah, it's very, very impressive pace from you. I mean, you finished the race quite a considerable distance and ahead. So, had you put in quite a bit of practice during the week to get your lines just right to pull out that sort of pace?
Surprisingly not. Only the hour before the session was practice, but it went surprisingly well indeed. I didn't expect that either.
It's always good when you have an unexpected great race. Then they're the ones that you tend to remember the most.
Indeed.
So that does lead me on to a question that I asked Chris at the top of the show. What's your most memorable experience of Hungaroring, and is this experience going to top that one?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't think I've driven here quite a lot of times actually. But I think this one is the most memorable because I think all the other races that I did here either ended in a crash or an other did not finish. So this one tops that.
Great. Glad to have been able to give you a nice, great memory of Hungaroring. So we know that overtaking around Hungaroring can be potentially challenging. How do you approach a race where you know that overtaking is going to be difficult?
That's also a great question. I think it depends a lot on the car that you're in as well. Like I know for the Mercedes that some of the high-speed corners is probably going to be difficult. So you should probably focus on the exits instead and try to get the car in front in those situations. But it really depends, I think.
Okay. So next week we have our second 2-round super sprint at Misano. So do you prefer the shorter race distances or the longer events that we had like this evening? And why do you prefer the one that you prefer?
I think both can be great. I think the shorter races have potential if you sort of crank up the randomness on the weather. So, for example, you have one rain race and one dry race. That could be fun. And at the same time, if you make a mistake in the first race, then it's less of a big deal because you have a second chance. So I think I prefer that. But at the same time, consistency should be sort of awarded. So maybe a longer race works as well. I like both. Yeah,
I'm definitely with you on the shorter races being a little bit more forgiving of format. If you've put in weeks of practice, it can be very disheartening if something goes wrong in that first race, but you've got the second one to recover it.
Absolutely,
So excellent. So are you looking forward to Misano?
Yeah, it's a great track as well, so we're definitely looking forward to it.
Excellent. And we look forward to seeing you there as well.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And I believe we now have Sebastian Reno in with us, P3. And how was that race for you, Sebastian?
Oh, it was a great race. Had some great fights today.
Yeah.
First of all with Anderson, and I don't know if he got damaged or anything. He was every time slow on the straight, and I was trying to get in turn 1, but there was no way through. So I kept trying, and the other guys behind catched up. It was really nice racing today.
Yeah, and it was definitely a pleasure to watch, and then there were, several instances throughout that race that, Chris were thinking, when Chris and I were thinking, so much going on, where do we look? And, we'd be watching one battle and another battle would kick off. So, yeah, thank you for giving us some excellent racing tonight. You might have heard me ask this question of Tim. So what's your most memorable experience of Hungaroring, and has your race tonight trumped that?
Well, from the race, the most parts I will remember is the backside from Anderson, because I've watched it around 20 rounds, I guess. So maybe I will dream about that today.
And when we noticed you having a nice close battle with Denise Pope for that final podium step, coming on into the final stages of the race, were you starting to feel the pressure?
Of course, I was really sweating. It was all because Anderson holded me up so long, and I couldn't get away. Oh, this was horrible at the end.
So we have, and as we know, overtaking around Hungaroring can be challenging, as you've discovered this evening. So how do you approach a race where you know that overtaking is going to be a potential challenge?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it clean, and try it in the corners where it works again and again and again, and not in corners which it won't work. So I have sent it 2 times against those guys which have tried it in front of the chicane. There's possible to overtake in this chicane, but they tried it, and I've never thought of that, because I know that you cannot overtake there without an incident. So I keep trying, and finally it worked out.
Excellent. So basically biding your time in the corners that you know has got the potential, and just sitting and waiting in the other corners.
Yes.
Excellent. So next week we have our second 2-round super sprint series at Misano. So do you prefer the shorter race distances or the longer events like this evening? And why do you prefer what you prefer?
I must say I haven't driven the shorter ones yet, and I'm not available to the Misano event also, because I'm on the way with my job, so I can't join it either. So I need first to make my own experience with it, so what is better.
So yeah, your experience so far has been with the longer format races,
Yes.
so the hour-long races.
Yes. Yes, and I like it.
Good. Okay, well, sorry you're not going to be able to join us next round, but are you going to be with us for Silverstone?
I guess, yes. If not come anything more important, I will join.
Excellent. Great. Well, thank you very much for giving us some excellent battling tonight, Sebastian.
You're welcome. I'm doing my very best.
It looks like we have Oliver Anderson has joined us. Good evening, Oliver. Owes me pizza Anderson.
Oh yes, I present me pizza, but yes. If you join the team, he will also owe you pizza. We'll cut you in on about 1/8 of the pizza. So
Oh,
You're welcome.
excellent.
Yes, we have already given out the rest of the pizza to other people who have helped us race.
You do know this has been going on for nearly 2 years.
Yeah, I'm not saying the pizza's gonna be fresh or anything, but
So I'm gathering from this that there is history being discussed here with the pizza.
oh yes, that's how the 101 team got started with SRi back in the days, and now SSRi. The famous pizza.
The famous pizza.
It's a long story. It's better fun during
I'd-
racing to talk about.
I will discover the story at some point, I am sure. So, Oliver, commiserations. We're watching with bated breath you fighting off challenge after challenge after challenge, and
Heartbreak
well,
in the end. I was almost crying.
and
And then
what?
you-
Explain from the cockpit what happened.
At what point of the race? In the beginning, I was lucky and people spun out, and I got into third. And then I don't know what happened to Deilerhausen, but when he spun, I unfortunately went the wrong way around him and tapped him and picked up a lot of damage.
Okay.
Caused my car to understeer like I can't say on the broadcast. But I couldn't turn into the corners, and I was losing a second a lap because of that. And
Wow.
from there on, it just became an uphill battle because the Porsche have no top speed, so defending was never really an option. But track layout helped me out a lot in this one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, knowing that you had damage, that you were carrying damage on board as well, I think makes the battling that we witnessed throughout that race even more admirable. So, is this going to be a race that you're going to remember or try to forget?
I'll remember it. It was a fun
You'll
race.
remember.
It was a
Good.
very fun race with a lot of good battling, especially with Sebastian Reinl. And unfortunately, at some point, Natafas got the better run on me out of the first corner. That was a little bit shameful that he had seen the way to overtake. He knew it. I was trying to squeeze him off in the end, but
Yeah, we did see some, shall we call them liberal use of track limits
I couldn't turn my car.
at various points. Oh, well then I'm glad that you're going to remember then this race fondly and not have it been one that you forget. It's painful to do so well throughout a race and for it to go a little bit pear-shaped at the end. But
story of my life. I have so many second places and third places last season, but I just couldn't get it together for the win. There was always something that came in the way.
and hopefully, say sometime soon, we'll be able to see you up on the podium.
Not this season. It haven't been a good season, so I don't think my luck will change for the rest of it.
Oh, fingers crossed. You never know what's going to come around the corner. So,
Misano is a good track for the Porsche, so maybe if I'm lucky, I can squeeze in a little bit of extra luck and mojo.
yeah. So you're looking forward to Misano then?
Yes. Oh yes. Am I? The 30-minute races are great fun.
Yeah.
Originally,
Yeah.
when I saw them on the calendar, I was thinking, that's gonna be fucking crap.
Oh,
I mean,
come
beeping
on.
crap. But then after we raced at Oulton, I sort of understood the idea of it, and it was great fun. I really had to bite my own words there. That was probably the best racing I've ever had.
So are you now a convert to liking the shorter format?
Yeah, for the tracks that's not so easy to overtake on. If you want to race at tracks like Oulton, Misano, Laguna Seca, Snetters and stuff like that, then I think that's the way forward.
Excellent. Good. So with tracks like Hungaroring, where it is so difficult to overtake, how do you approach a race like that, knowing that overtakes are going to be challenging? Do you put more focus onto qualifying?
Oh yes, full qualifying practice. I had maybe done like 10 laps of race pace before coming in today, so I was ready for qualifying. I just didn't get it together on qualifying, unfortunately. I was a bit ashamed of that. But I was practicing a lot for qualifying. I knew it was going to be important here. And I was talking to Mike Abranoset before the race, I sent him a message asking me if he could take out 5 people ahead of me so I could win the race, and he almost succeeded in the first corner, actually helping out.
Perhaps you don't
That's
want to
the
be
way
telling
to
Emily
it.
that one.
That's the way to approach these kind of short races when you're not starting on pole.
Right. So, we know that you're looking forward to Misano. Are you going to be putting in quite a bit of practice between now and then?
Probably. I think so, maybe. We'll see. We'll see what the time brings. I don't have so much free time at the moment, so... But if the time comes around, then I will get a lot of practice in.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for giving us some fantastic racing to watch, Oliver. And I've just seen Evan Netfus has just joined us in the commentary booth. Hello, Evan. Congratulations on your P2. How was the race for you? Evan?
Push to talk, Evan. Push to talk.
Yes. Sorry about that.
There we go. Hello, Evan.
Hello and good evening. It was a very intense race. Very, very intense. First lap was all over the place. Got a couple of taps towards the end of the lap. Managed to keep it pointing forwards, and after that, all I thought about was just keep as close to the front guys as you can and see where it takes you.
No, it's really, really it's intense for you to drive. Equally intense for us to watch. There were, several periods during that race that Chris and I were just, where do we look? There's just so much going on. So, really, really great close racing. Thank you for giving us such an entertaining evening. So, is this going to be a race you remember, or one that? Well, you got P2, so it's definitely not going to be one that you're going to forget. So, where is this race going to rank?
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is definitely my best result so far in organized racing.
Oh, excellent.
So I'm really happy for it, and I'm going to remember it. I'm going to post it all over it. I'm not going to let these guys live it through.
So, driving the Honda. Now, I have heard that the patch that we had to ACC during the week had quite an effect on the Honda. And did you notice a lot of difference in how the car feels? Did you have to change your setup at all, or was it business as usual behind the wheel today?
Actually, just as I was learning to drive the Honda, it changed so much. It feels as if it's a different car now. And I had to pretty much relearn it again in 2 days before the race.
So, completely different for the better or the worse, do you think?
It looks better. Overall, the pace seems to be better, and when you work on the setup, it seems to have more of an effect. You understand what the car is going to do, whereas before it wasn't as much. But for me, it's in a good direction. The changes that happened, it just meant that I needed to learn it from scratch, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have a couple of weeks to get it into shape for Misano. So obviously we've got our second 2-round super sprint next round out and at Misano. So do you prefer the shorter race distances, or do you like the longer events like we had tonight?
I can't really say, because I had to miss the previous doubleheader.
Okay.
And it kind of hurts me because I know it's double points and I missed out on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna look forward to it. I like Misano as a track, and big long straights means the VTEC power is gonna shine there.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. So within the race then this evening, and obviously Hungaroring is a difficult track to try and overtake. So how do you generally approach a race where you know that overtaking is potentially going to be a challenge?
I would like to say I focus on qualifying, but I can't really hot lap to save my life. It would take weeks for me to practice and find pace for hot lap. So I put most of my time making sure that my race pace is good, that my car feels comfortable, and I won't have any issues over a long period of time, over an hour. And I know that as long as I can keep it clean and I can keep it on the track and I can keep it facing forwards, I will get a good result. So that's what happened today.
Yeah, focus on consistency and then the places will come.
Yeah, pretty much.
Definitely. Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you very much for giving us some great racing, Evan, and look forward to seeing you next round out at Misano.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You too. So, Chris, there we have it.
We do. I think we've both enjoyed this evening.
We have, yes. And even though we were both a little stressed coming into it, I think we've done all right.
I don't think anybody will have noticed our mistakes. You.
No. Seamless.
Fantastic.
Well,
so, time to wrap
we've
up
all got
there,
to
I think.
start somewhere.
Absolutely.
Right. So, that is it for us for this evening. Thank you very much for joining us. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to give us a like, click subscribe, and make sure that you hit the bell icon so that you can be notified of all of our future races. So our next round of GT3s is going to be at Misano, as we've said, a double header on the 12th of April. Hope we will see you there.
Thank you very much, everybody, for watching tonight. Good night.